He added that there has never been any evidence that large numbers of these objects are coming into our atmosphere from another planet at all. And this is coming from Ezra, so this is interesting. Now, that's just his opinion. I do think that other planets are inhabited, and I do think we're getting extraterrestrials visiting us from other places. And to me, that's a very essential part of the story. So I can't completely vibe in with all of these sentiments, but it's just, again, this is just stimulating discussion, stimulating ideas, getting these things out there into the world. And so here again, he's revealing the potential dangers of what could be happening, which again, we got to take that into account. Tom Thompson says, Tucker claims the U.S. is in active contact with supernatural beings. Well, there you go. Wow. Active contact. So he's gotten some kind of briefings sufficient to convince him of the same things I've been telling you, that other people like Dr. Greer and many others in the UFO community have been telling you for a long time, which is there is active, ongoing interaction taking place. We are not alone. There are some folks who are actively interacting with these beings, and they're in highly classified programs. The Age of Disclosure film called that the Legacy Program. Man, it's real. So that is so exciting. It's futuristic. It drives me out of my mind. I want to meet them myself. I want to see what's behind the curtain, because we're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's been so long. Let's get to the core of this, right? Most chillingly, he describes the nature of these encounters in some cases as being dark and disturbing, so much so that he's refrained from disclosing the full details to his own wife. And again, we're getting into your reptilian Draco category, the fact that there are, human traffickers out there apparently, that they're doing really bad things, that they're cannibalistic in that sense. That's the stuff that I guess we've had such a hard time accepting, but it's going to validate a lot of people's religious beliefs, and I expect that that will come in later stages. You're not going to get that in the beginning. You're not going to get the evil stuff in the earlier waves of disclosure. But again, please don't forget that most of the beings that are visiting us are positive. Most of them are human-like, and they are working to protect us from the negative, but we can invite the negative into our lives. We have to be very careful about what we invite, about what we allow to intrude, so that we don't get swept away into negativity. And, it happens to all of us. The negative can intrude in various ways. It's certainly intruded in my life. I've had some very upsetting things going on. I hope it's going to be okay. But, when you go out there and you fight for this truth and you fight for this work, it's easy to make mistakes, and it's easy to have bad karma come in and allow negative things to occur. And so, I have a lot of trouble sleeping. Thankfully, last night, I actually slept pretty well. But, once I heard about the war breaking out, I had a really hard time sleeping again. So, and it's a challenge. Each day is a challenge. We're trying to do our best here. Let's keep on going. So he says, for me personally, this story carries a heavy sense of deja vu. The narrative of certain groups of high-ranking government officials viewing non-human intelligence not as extraterrestrial travelers, but as malevolent spiritual entities, is a theory that has been gaining quiet traction. And again, there's good ones and bad ones. It was laid out in granular detail by myself long before Carlson took it to a global stage. Then he promotes his video and specifically exploring shadowy groups in the intelligence community convinced they are dealing with demonic forces rather than biological aliens. So yes, that's the so-called Collins elite, the Christian part of the UFO cover-up that thinks that this is actually some type of very evil thing, and that's why they're pushing back, and they don't think that the public is ready for the truth. Yeah, I think you're going to have to get this in stages, and so that's why, again, I want to focus on positive UFO interactions that we're going to have that you can see in these archaic artworks that are really beautiful. So here's Tucker looking very concerned about it again in that video. And here's Tulsi saying that we are going to get UFO files declassified. Now, will they talk about negative beings in the beginning? Probably not. But here's the legendary Ross Coulthart today, the director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, pledged that files related to extraterrestrial life, UAPs, and UFOs will be declassified. Things are getting interesting very fast. If there are indeed files on extraterrestrial life that require declassification, how does that sit with the claims made by the Department of War to Congress But there is no evidence of extraterrestrial life engaging with this planet. Did the DoD lie? Ooh, ouch. Well, you know, of course, in a court situation, the main focus is on who's lying and trying to prove if somebody is lying. And so we want to be, you know, aware that that can happen. And, you know, this Ross Coulthart, by the way, somebody was just asking that. He is a prominent UFO journalist who appears on News Nation, and he's really kind of become very deeply involved in the UFO subject, and he keeps talking about it, which I think is great. So Ross has my full support. I'm definitely sober. There's no stonage going on here. I don't know why somebody would think that. One man did a power amplifier in 1970, powering his house for weeks on a half-charged 9-volt battery. How about that? Yes, I mean, there are weird suppressed technologies out there, and that's what I'm really hoping for. Disclosure gets us off of oil, gas, coal, and nuclear power, and it gets us into much cleaner, safer systems. And, you know, that will really be a revolution for the world. And again, you know, even the people that want to build AI data centers, they're going to be very happy with that. It's going to be a good thing as we get this technology coming out. Well, did the DoD lie? Let's not look at it that way. More like, well, they definitely wanted to take stride in being careful. And so you got to make strides.